So I need you guys to understand something very, very important for the kind of America that I want, or the kind of America that I'm actually personally looking for. And a big part of that is race equality. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Because it feels like we've been talking about race equality for so fucking long in this country, at least over the past, I want to say 16, 17 years. Like we've been talking about aggressively, especially since the Obama era. We've been talking about race equality for a very long time, about how we got to be inclusive and all the races got to be equal and yada, yada, yada. And I do want that. But I've come to realize that that's not fucking happening because we're not being honest about the races and honest about the racist intentions. So we got to look at the whole situation. White people are the only people who actually want race equality. They're the only group of people who've been fighting for race equality pretty much since the civil rights movement. They're like, look, you know what? We're not going to have you niggas in bondage anymore. We're not going to call you niggers. We're not going to call you porch monkeys, house slaves, house niggers. We're not gonna do this shit no more. We're not gonna call you cotton pickers. We're actually gonna start judging you guys based off the content of your character. Big thing that Martin Luther King talked about. They were like, you know what? We actually got to stop judging each other based off our skin color. We actually have to look at each other based off our behavior, judge each other based off our behavior, what we do, not the skin that we have. So the rights movement pushed that shit. We wrote this shit into laws. We can't discriminate based off race anymore. Okay, fine. Cool. White people are like, okay, we're gonna do this. You know what? We're not gonna judge people based off their race. We're actually gonna full on do this to the point that like, you know what? We got to create affirmative action. We need to create DEI. We need to put these people in positions where they can be represented and their people can see them. Operate among white people. That's what ended up happening. And cool. At first it's like, okay, fine. We're gonna look at people based off their character and how they want to move, and this is what white people wanted. But as you guys have obviously now seen, we've come to realize that all these other races, all these other cultures, right? They don't want equality. They want superiority over white people. I'm going to say that again. These races, these other races, Black, Latino, Asian, Indians coming in this motherfucker, they don't want equality with white people. They want superiority over white people now. That's what they want. How do we know this? Because when you look at the way that white people vote, white people are never voting based off identity politics. That's why I said during the Obama era, this is where the shit started getting really kind of fucked up, because white people were never voting based off race. They were never like, okay, this person's Black, this person's white, let me vote this kind of way. No, white people were concerned with America. They're like, okay, what is going to be the best for America? What are the best ideas and ideologies currently for America? That's how white people voted. But because of the way Obama campaigned, based off, you know what, we're going to take care of minorities. We're going to make sure minorities are okay. We're going to prioritize you niggas. We're not going to give a fuck about white people. We're going to care about you niggas. What ended up happening is it exacerbated a tribalistic mindset among the other races, among the non-white races that are in the United States. They were like, okay, I have to care about my own. I only have to vote for people that are going to care about me and my race and my people and the people I care about. Not what's best for the country, not what's best for America, but what's best for my race. And naturally, this is a big issue, because when you have one group of people, being white people, who are interested in making sure we do what's best for the country, make sure we do what best is best for America, make sure we're pushing forward the best ideas that are best for America, these other races are like, I want to do what's best for me and my people. Meaning America becomes second in priority to my race. Meaning, as a Black person, what any politician is going to do for Black people comes first before the country as a whole. As a Latino or Hispanic person, what any politician does for the Hispanic community, the Latino community, comes first before America. Same thing with Asians, and so on and so forth, with every other race or ethnicity of person that comes to the United States or is in the United States. They all prioritize what is going to benefit the group, while white people prioritize what's going to benefit the country. Obviously, this creates a huge fucking problem in the country, because you have these niggas that actually want to see a beautiful country and a great country that's going to prosper, having to fight against these niggas that don't give a fuck about the country. They just care about what's going to be best for the community. And obviously, you have the Democrats that have taken full advantage of this shit. And Obama exacerbated this issue, because this is how Democrats have campaigned. Since Obama took office in 2008, it's always been identity politics. Like these Democrats are always campaigning on, okay, let me make sure I say this that's going to benefit black people. This is going to benefit the Latino community. This is going to benefit the Asian community. This is what's going to benefit immigrants and all this other shit. How can I keep helping all these other niggas? And what happens is when you're campaigning that way, the people that you're campaigning for are going to only maintain a tribalistic view. Meaning if a politician goes up there and says they're going to do anything, they're going to do anything that benefits a white person, nobody wants to vote for that nigga anymore. A prime example of this is what's going on in Virginia, if my memory serves me well. So there's a governor race, and there's this white liberal woman that's going against this black conservative woman, right? And the NAACP has decided to endorse the white liberal woman over the black conservative woman, simply because they know in the average black man's mind, I'm gonna be honest with you niggas, because niggas be stupid. In the average black person's mind, when a black person hears conservative, they think likes white people, does things for white people. When black people find out that you're a black conservative, they immediately call you a coon. They're, oh, you're a coon, you know, haha, look, you're working for the white man. You're the white man's slave. You're the house nigga for the white man. Like that's immediately what they think. So they will strictly vote against you because they have this association between conservative and helping white people. So even if you look like them, even if you're black and they're black too, and they see you helping out white people, they're immediately going to be like, oh, I don't want to vote for you, nigga. You're helping white people. And I'm saying all this so you guys understand how destructive this is. This is super destructive because instead of prioritizing the prosperity of a country, we're having tribalistic battles within the country, which means the country is just suffering because everybody's too busy about every other race that's not white is busy protecting their own race's interest instead of, benefiting the country, making sure the country overall is prospering. Everyone is more concerned with themselves. Everybody else is selfish. Only white people are saying, let's do what's best for the country. Every other race is saying, I want to do what's best for my own community while I'm in this country. Fucking stupid. And if all these niggas are really sitting here talking about we need equality, these stupid, goofy ass, dumbass niggas on the left, they're saying we need equality. Multiculturalism is good. Yes, it is good when it is fair. But these niggas on the left actually can't handle this shit. They don't understand that if we want to make this shit fair, we can't have social stigmas against white people saying the N-word, for example. Because that divides the races. That creates differences between the races. And I believe there's differences between the races. Don't even get it twisted. The way that I define culture is based off behavior and talents. That's how I define culture. Because culture is just the ways that you behave based off like your own personal demographic. I think black people operate differently from white people. White people operate differently from the other races. Latinos operate differently from the other races. Asians operate differently from the other races. They all have their different talents. White people have that exploration type mindset. They have that innovation type mindset. They're deep into philosophy. Whereas black people have that entertainment ability, physical capability. They have a strong sense of vigilance. You know what I'm saying? Niggas will be looking around like, oh, now we can't go in there. Like niggas will see a fucking abandoned asylum and be like, oh, hell no. Whereas a white man will be like, hell yeah. You see, that's a difference in behavior, a difference in culture in terms of behavior. Asians are really fucking good at math and shit, arithmetic. Latinos are good at making different types of fucking food and shit. Indians be smelling like shit. You see what I'm saying? Like basically every single race got their own shit. Different ways of operating, different ways, different cultures that they operate based on. But my point is, if multiculturalism is what we want in this country, which I'm fucking against, and I'll explain why. But if multiculturalism is what we want in this country, if equality is what we want in this country, then we actually need to make sure everyone is equal with each other. That includes white people. That means the other races cannot afford to be tribalistic in nature. That's going to create inequality because you're going to prioritize your race over what's best for the whole. You can only live in a multicultural society if everyone is acting in the best interest of the whole, not in the best interest of their own personal groups. It can't work that way. That's why I give the N-word example. We can't do this thing where only white people can't say the N-word, but every other oppressed minority can say the N-word. And it's cool. Because you see black people, they don't really get mad when Latinos say the N-word. but they do get mad when white niggas say the N-word. You see what I'm saying? So they're treating the races differently. That's inequality right there. That's a huge problem, nigga. Because the white people have every right to look at the situation and say, hey, you said you wanted equality. Your man's MLK said he wanted equality. You guys said you wanted this multiculturalism, where you have all these immigrants and all these different ways of living life come to this country. You guys said you wanted this shit. But this can't work if you guys are going to start subverting a group of people, being white people. And I'm not just some number one white defender. Let's defend white people. I'm about the fairness that these niggas are talking about on the left. I'm about the equality that these niggas are talking about on the left. If you niggas want to do this, I don't think this shit works. But if you niggas want to do this, we need to do it right. We can't have DEI programs. We can't have affirmative action. We can't have things that treat different races differently. We can't have anything that discriminates against any race, whether it's white, black, Latino, Asian, Indian. We can't have any of that bullshit. Because if we do, that means the races are unequal by nature. We can't have situations where, oh, only white people can't say the N-word. You're creating inequality again. And then what? White people are supposed to look at that situation and be like, all right, let me just suck it up. Let me just suffer in silence while you niggas get to do whatever you want, while you niggas get to prioritize your own community. Fuck no. If we're going to do this thing where other races are allowed to be tribalistic, where black people are allowed to be tribalistic, where Asians are allowed to be tribalistic, where Latinos are allowed to be tribalistic and care about themselves and have Latino pride and all this other bullshit, white people need to be able to have that shit too. There should be white pride. You should be able to say white power, white power, white power. You should be able to say that as a white person. If we're going to allow these other races to do this shit, if other races are going to be able to say black power, Latino power, niggas say Latino power. Do niggas even say that shit? But anyway, Latino power, Asian power. Like, if we're going to have that, cool, but all the races need to be able to do that. You cannot reprimand white people for doing that. If we're going to have any other races have a supremacy type mindset at all, which we obviously shouldn't, then all the races must do that. Because if you guys get mad at white people doing that, then that means you guys don't want equality. You guys want superiority. Problem, gay. That breaks your whole equality narrative. That breaks your whole multicultural narrative. It means that you're looking for superiority. We can't have multiculturalism when one culture is trying to subvert another culture. That's just war, niggas. like, that's just war. That's just war. We're leading to war. And if you guys haven't seen my podcast that I did last weekend on Does White Culture Exist, where I was asking people in DC about this shit, my own explanation on this and my own position on all this shit. Because in an ideal world, that's what I want it to look like. If we're going to have this multiculturalism and we're going to have this equality that the left has campaigned on so fucking long, which they don't actually want. They want superiority over white people. But we're going to have this shit. Everybody needs to be fair. We can't have DI programs. We can't have affirmative action. Everybody needs to be able to be tribalistic. If one community wants to be tribalistic, if one community wants to celebrate their race or group of people, all communities must be able to do that, including fucking white people. That must occur if you guys want the shit that you say you want. But in truth, I know this shit doesn't work. I understand that the other races are inherently tribalistic. Personally, I just what's going to happen. The other races are tribalistic. White people are the ones who created the Constitution. White people are the ones who built this country. The founding fathers are the ones who built this country. The founding fathers were white Christians. They fundamentally understood. They ascended above the idea of tribes. They were the ascended ones. The founding fathers were some of the realest niggas to ever set foot on this planet, my nigga. I'm be honest. They were the realest niggas, bruh. They were by far the realest niggas. They understood, like, no, we got to rise above this tribalistic nature. They left Britain and realized, no, we need to have freedom here. We need to have liberty. We need people to have their own positions, to be able to stand on their positions and have discussions about this shit so we can make the most prosperous country. They understood this. And they understood, hey, we can't have tribalism. We can't have this shit. That's also what led to the creation of the separation of church and state, because the white Christians also understood, nigga, we have all these denominations of Christianity. We got niggas over here who want to be Orthodox. We have niggas over here that want to be Presbyterian. We have niggas over here that want to be Catholic. We can't have any of these one particular niggas controlling the government, because what does that lead to? The tribalism again. I'm going to control the government in a way that is going to benefit my denomination of Christianity, which became an issue. So they realized, nope, stop, niggas. We got to separate the church and state. We got to separate the tribalism away from the government, because we have tribalism in the government. We become like what we tried to fucking escape in Britain. We can't be like that. So we got to separate this shit. They understood this. We had to get rid of this tribalism. But the problem is, these other races, I'm going to be honest with you niggas, they're not thinking that way. As I said, what is baked into the white DNA and white genetics is that exploration mindset, that philosophy mindset. You know, thinking bigger than our base instincts and our base desires. That's baked into white people. I'll be real. Only white people be thinking about this shit. So when I look at situations where, like, statistically speaking, the white race is slowly diminishing, some niggas might be looking at it and be like, oh, this isn't a bad thing. Who cares? Like, if the race is gone, it doesn't really matter. It's not a big deal as long as the ideas and whatever stay. But that's the problem. I don't fucking think the idea is going to stay, my niggas. I'll be honest. I don't think the ideas are going to stay. I honestly think if white niggas are gone, tribalism will reign again and America will be destroyed. I'll be honest. Because I can never see a nigga, bro. I'll be like, hey, man, we got to uphold the Constitution, niggas. We got to uphold this shit. Like, niggas are not going to fuck with, like, nigga, fuck. Niggas going to be like, fuck the Constitution. It's already existing now. It's already happening now. Like I said, these races are here. They're tribalistic. They always put their community above the country. They don't care about America. When you look at all these other minority groups, bro, they're waving flags from other fucking countries. Mexicans or Latinos are waving flags from Mexico. Asians are waving flags from Asia. Blacks don't even wave the fucking flag. Blacks hate the flag. Blacks see the American flag as a sign of racism, bro. They hate the flag. They burn that shit. So all the other races, they don't fucking like America. They like their race. They identify with their race. Only white people actually identify with America. It's only a small minority of the really intelligent and strong-willed people from these other races that actually prioritize America. Most niggas, majority of niggas, they identify with their community. Even surveys have been done to show this, that they identify with their community over all the races, the entire culture or community within the United States. They just prioritize their own personal community over anything. So you can even see here, like, these niggas are not interested in the overall. So I look at that and I'm like, bro, if white niggas are gone, I can't see the other races operating in a way where they give a fuck about what America is built on, because they don't even understand it. They don't understand why this shit is important. They don't understand why maintaining the Constitution is important. They honestly think it's something that niggas need to get rid of. And even going back to the church and state thing that I'm talking about, that's why I also have a problem with Jewish people running our country and Muslims coming here. Not because I have anything against the religions. I have much respect for Islam. I have much respect for Judaism. I have respect for these religions. But when I look at these religions, based off the research I've done, both these religions have ways in which they choose to govern an area that directly impedes the Constitution, that directly impedes the freedom that the Constitution was built on. You have Jews over here who believe that they're the chosen people. They have a supremacist ideology baked into their religion. And if niggas strongly believe this shit, it's over with. They're going to operate in ways where they're superior to everyone. They don't give a fuck about freedom, equality, or democracy. They're going to put themselves in the highest positions of power, as we've already seen. They're controlling the media. They're in the highest positions of government. They control the banks. They control all these different things. And for that reason, they have superiority to everyone. They can push their ideals onto everyone, and everyone has to accept it, which is obviously a huge issue. When you look at Islam too, they have Sharia law, which basically is like the doctrine of, like, the way we're going to operate the government is based off Islam. It's not based off democracy and everybody having freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Like, they don't fuck with that shit. In Islamic countries, you can't just go operate like it's fucking America. They don't have the Constitution there. You say something bad about the Prophet, you say something bad about Muhammad, they're going to fucking slice your neck off, nigga. Throw you in jail forever. No one's going to give a fuck. Turn you into an infinite slave. Like, these religious values directly go against the values of the United States, which is why this country should stay majority Christian. Because that's why primarily the separation of church and state was created. Because we were trying to make sure that Christianity does not fuck with the government. These other main religions don't abide by that. These other religions, naturally, these niggas operate based off what their religion tells them to do. That includes in the way that they control the government. They're using their religious beliefs as a way to operate within the government. Christians don't operate the same way. They separate their religion from the government, from the way that they operate in the government. They understood it to be bad because they know the government would become very tribalistic. It'd become a tribal game where, okay, my denomination of Christianity controls the government. It's bad. It doesn't fucking work. So as you guys can see here from this whole spiel, like, we're trying to avoid the tribalistic nature in the United States because that's what causes a lot of these problems when people are prioritizing themselves and their personal communities over what's best for America. And because I see the situation as a whole, I'm like, look, niggas, as president, this is one of the main things I would do. And actually, first, we can even talk about immigration. So my thing with immigration, as I said before, when people come in with these other religions, whether it's Judaism or Islam or anything the fuck else, these religions impede on the Constitution naturally. So for me, what I would do is I would completely reform our immigration program. We should be indoctrinating niggas in the same way that Jews be, sending all our politicians to Israel to go touch the fucking wall. We should be doing similar shit for niggas that want to immigrate to the U.S. Or you want to immigrate to the U.S.? You got to visit the Capitol building. You got to visit this. You got to visit this. You have to learn how to speak fucking English. If you come to this country and you've been in this country for 5 fucking years, we have these fucking senoritas, consuelas coming to this bitch. They've been here for 8 years and they can't speak clear English, nigga. That's a sign of a shitty immigration program. That's a sign of somebody who is not immigrated properly, who is not assimilated properly, my nigga. And that's what leads to a lot of these immigrants coming in here and voting left. And it's not even necessarily about voting left or right, but this comes, they don't even know what the fuck the right is saying because they can't speak English. I've heard situations where a lot of Latinos and Hispanics come to this country and they just hate Trump because they don't understand what the fuck he's saying because he's speaking in English. So all the other Latinos around them are just telling them Trump bad. And they don't even know any better because they can't understand the fucking language. They don't even speak the main language, niggas. Why the fuck would they be able to understand what the fuck's going on? Naturally, it'd be a big fucking issue. So I'm like, nigga, we need to reform this shit. So as president, what I would do, I would completely reform our immigration program. We're indoctrinating niggas if you come here. And by indoctrinating them, I don't mean in a bad way. I mean, we're forcing them to abide by American values. You can think what you want, but you have to abide by American values. You have to become American to be here. We need to drill it into you. We need to haze your ass. You need to get fucking hazed. You cannot come to this country without getting hazed. You need to get brutally hazed. Because if we brutally haze you, we know that you're going to be thinking about the collective now. We need to force you to think about the collective. We need to force you to stop thinking about your skin color and your tribe. We have to. Because if we don't do that shit, you're going to become tribalistic when you're here. You're only going to give a fuck about your community, which is going to cause problems and go against the multiculturalism and equality niggas are complaining that they want. If you guys really want this shit. I personally don't want this shit. I don't think shit works. Personally, because I understand that these other cultures, they have their different ways they want to operate. When you put all these different beliefs and cultures in the same place and tell them to get along, it doesn't fucking work because niggas just want to operate differently. So that's what leads to a lot of fucking violence. I can see the future, niggas. I have future sight. I have observation hockey from One Piece, niggas. I can see the future. If we have all these cultures coming together, we have Christians, Muslims, Jews all coming together, all these different races coming together, violence is going to ensue. Hell, racial tensions are already rising between white people and all these other races because of everything I just described before. Because all the other races are tribalistic and white people are being punished if they show any signs of tribalism. And that naturally makes them mad. And I can see that shit. I'm like, niggas, this is not good. This is stupid. If we can't hold these other races to another standard and only white people are getting held to a standard and not even being held to a standard, they're being subverted, it's not going to fucking work. These niggas are going to get mad. So we have to address this issue now before it's too late. So the way I'd address it, at least there's several ways. I'm like, look, it's either we force all these other races to recognize white power, white pride, and accept it. We force black people to stop holding on to the N-word and saying, well, white people can't say this shit. We can't do that anymore. Because that's the tribalism. Then other people need to be able to be tribalistic. So we can't do that shit anymore. We hold them to that standard. And then as I was saying before, if I became president, what I would do with immigration, I'd be like, look, we need to reform the entire program. We got to first we need to put stop on immigration so I can focus on completely reforming the shit. So I could be like, okay, let's make sure we actually have a process in which we force these niggas to become American. Because if we just force these niggas to become American, we would have no problem. Even if we have a multicultural country, if we have a process in which we can brutally haze niggas into becoming American, it'd be fine. But as long as we don't have a process like that, the multiculturalism is not going to work. And a lot of white people would be rightfully mad about the situation and be like, oh, this is bad. Because I know if we had the equality that guys like MLK were fighting so hard for, if we actually had that shit, nobody would have a problem. Because everybody loves America and nobody's prioritizing their community over America. Nobody's making those types of decisions. Because niggas are only going to get mad at multiculturalism if it's fundamentally changing the values of the country. That's the issue. But if the values of the country stay the same while we have multicultures here, it's good. Nobody has an issue with that. That's cool. So that's what I would do. That's how I would attack immigration. I would make sure, hey, we reform everybody. And even if you have your own religion coming here, you have to prioritize America over your religion. It cannot be religion first. It has to be America first and then your religion. If you're coming here and you're on some, I only respect Allah, I only operate in whatever way my religion tells me to operate, fuck America, yeah, you got to get the fuck out of here. I'm deporting your ass. As president, I'm getting rid of you, nigga. Sorry. You can't be here because you're going to fuck up the country. You're going to fuck up what we're trying to build here. So we have to be honest with ourselves about these things, guys. You have to look at these situations clearly and objectively. It's not about race. Thinking about your race and your tribe all the time it's dumb shit. The founding fathers were smarter than you, nigga. The founding fathers were not thinking about their tribe anymore. They were thinking, no, we have to think bigger. We have to think at a higher level, guys. We can't think at this low level bullshit. We just escaped the bullshit in Britain, bro. We can't think at this low level. We have to think at a higher level. So we either are forcing these other races to think at a higher level, or they can't live here. Or it's just not going to fucking work. So anyway, when I become president, I'm going to be fixing a lot of this shit, niggas. I'll be honest. I can already see the future. I'll fix a lot of this shit. But that's kind of where we are. I just want you guys to be aware of what's going on. Especially when you look at race politics and identity politics. That's where we are. Only white people are not allowed to be prideful and be, tribalistic with their race. Every other race is. That's clearly unfair. You have to be able to admit that shit, niggas. You have to be able to see that that's unfair, no matter what race you are watching this shit. You have to be able to admit that's unfair. If we allow white people to do this, then maybe things can get better. Now we can actually have the multiculturalism that niggas want. For me, I'm just in this position where, hey, look, only other option, if people are going to remain tribalistic, if I'm going to be realistic about the situation, and this is the other thing too, because one of my solutions is we haze niggas into becoming American. And if that doesn't work, what I would do would actually reinstitute a refined form of segregation, where basically I would segregate people based off their race and religion. If you are Islam and you're this, okay, you can only be around here. You can only be in this area. If you're Jewish and whatever, you can only be here. If you're Christian and whatever, you can only be here. If you're Black, you can only be here. If you're Latino, you can only be here. If you're Asian, you can only be here. So we have a multicultural country, but nobody's able to impede on each other. Nobody's able to practice their religion in ways that bothers the other niggas. Because at the end of the day, not everybody wants to fuck with your religion. Not everybody wants to see your religion openly in public or whatever. Just like we were having the situations where Muslims were praying in New York. While it wasn't crazy, while it wasn't violent or whatever, I'm not going to make that statement. The problem is, like, niggas are not going to really fuck with that. If you have more and more Muslims coming here and they're all doing that shit in the middle of New York, niggas are going to start getting mad. Christians are going to start getting mad. We can already see right now with what's going on with Madani in New York. A lot of Christians not fucking with that shit. They're worried that Islam's going to take over. And they have every right to be worried, my niggas, I'm going to be honest. So we have to look at this situation and be like, okay, if we're going to have these different cultures here, and these niggas are not going to be able to contain themselves in terms of their practice, we need to segregate them. So what I would do is I'd reinstitute a refined form of segregation where we can have people in America, but they all separate. And then these people just have representatives for their group of people, for their community. And they come together and then we make decisions for America as a whole. We do what benefits America as a whole. It benefits the American people as a whole. But based off your race and your religion or whatever, you guys would be segregated to ensure there's no violence. Because as I was saying before, when you have a bunch of different people from a bunch of different cultures that want to practice differently and they're not exactly tolerant of other people, it's going to lead to violence, unnecessary bloodshed. And I want to avoid that shit as much as possible. So the only way we can do that is by segregating. So those are the two ways. Those are the two things I would either do. It's either first, if we want to have this multiculturalism thing and this race equality thing, I would enforce that everybody focuses on America. I would rid everybody of a tribalistic mindset. I would turn everybody into an extreme nationalist. Everybody just loves America. Fuck your race, fuck your religion. America is first. It's America only. Fuck everything else. That's what matters most. Your religion and everything else, your race comes second, third in priority. But America is what matters most. No other flags, no other bullshit, just the American flag. You love America. So I'd indoctrinate niggas. I would haze niggas into being American. One. And I'll start all the way from the top down, from the public schools, everywhere, nigga, America only. If we don't do that, if niggas don't want to do that, the only other option is we segregate. Because if we're going to have these different cultures that are impeding on each other and are voting in different ways that are not serving niggas, I'm like, okay, no, we can't fucking do this. So everybody's going to fucking segregate, and I'm going to make sure we get representatives from these different communities that come together and they make decisions on what's best for America as a whole. We have these different representatives, they talk, and then we come to decisions. Not all this bullshit where everybody gets to vote and all this other bullshit. Because it's not going to work, because we have these tribalistic niggas that are voting against these niggas that want what's best against America, which is why we have not been able to move forward as a country for so fucking long. Because it can't work. If you have niggas that actually give a fuck about America and you have these niggas that only care about their community, it's always going to be a pull away. These people are like, hey, let's make this decision that benefits everybody. And then these people are like, no, I don't want to make that decision because it benefits white people. Like, you see what I'm saying? That's gay. We can't do that. So that's how I would move. But all in all, I want you guys to hear that shit so you guys understand what the fuck's going on between the races and how we don't actually have race equality in this country. The inequality is not with the other races, bro. The other races actually have supremacy over the current majority being white people, which is about to not be the majority anymore. And we have to be real about this shit. We have to be honest about that shit. If niggas want equality and all this other bullshit, we have to be honest about what's going on between the races. So that's how I would solve the problem once I become president anyway. So at least you guys fucking know. So vote for me, niggas. We'll see when that happens, though. You know, obviously I gotta get my clout and money up, but we'll definitely be running for president for sure in the future. So, okay.